All right. Now I'm trying to understand also looking at the skills that you will need to run the business now,
Hmm.
because uh, one thing is to understand what you want to do. Another thing is to know how to do it. So when you
Right.
realize that this is what you wanted to do, how did you
Hmm.
manage to get the skill? Because like you said now, there were not so many people that were doing it at the
Hmm.
time.
Right.
So okay, tell me about it. How did you learn it?
That was a lot of process and mistakes and errors and long nights and all-nighters and just looking at what others are doing and then figuring out how I can inject myself in the space. It was a lot. I don't think I really, to be honest, really got the hang of it until I started the business. And even then, it took me into another realm because at the time, I was just, and I'll full disclosure, my background, I was in Wall Street. So I started out working in like investment bank and credit derivatives and all that stuff. That's where my space was. And then when I got laid off and then stayed home and was raising my children, uh, I came across this. So my experience was not in production. Like I could not tell you what an ISO was versus a, f-stop was. But it was a lot of just kind of just watching YouTube, talking to people, being part of just different groups who were going through the same process that I was going through and just learning. Like I literally, when I did my show, I put my show together within 24 hours, and I was up all night. I did an all-nighter to get everything together, and I was just, I just learned it. It was really all self-taught. All self-taught. I haven't gone to one class. No, actually I take that back. I went to one class, but it wasn't even for live streaming. It was for like video production, but and I think it was like maybe for a couple of weeks, but I haven't really gone to any classes. It was just a lot of just kind of trial and error.
Uh-huh. And those technical part of it, maybe how did you manage to begin to figure them out? What was
It
he? Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's a lot of it's I mean, it's reading, it's talking to people who are doing it, it's asking really dumb questions, but I ask them anyway because I want to learn. Like I remember going into this it was like a meeting or a network meeting when they were talking about live streaming, and these were like a lot of, I think I might have been the only like non-production person, but everyone was like in producing, they were in production, they were doing their live streams, they were using like equipment like, the new tech and the live view solo and just all these other type of like high end live stream production equipment. And I'm coming in there and saying, hey, yeah, I do my ticker using PowerPoint and QuickTime. And like looking back at it now, and and I look back at it from then, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. But I was like, at that point, I didn't care. I didn't care if I was going to be embarrassed. I didn't care if I didn't know something. My end goal was to get better in live streaming. And that's what I was going to do. So regardless if I was going to sound silly, regardless if I was going to sound dumb, I just wanted answers, and I want to figure out how I could get better at something that I'm truly was enjoying doing.
You enjoyed doing it, you
Mhm.
insisted on it, and now we can see. All
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Now I teach others to do it.
That's
And I'm still
interesting.
learning. I'm still learning. Like
Mm.
this, it's a never ending. There's still things that I don't know. And I think this year has been me practicing and getting better with my camera angles and the lighting and the audio and stuff like that. So I'm always learning. It's I think that it's sometimes it's okay to look silly and it's okay to ask stupid questions, as but there's no stupid questions, but it's okay to ask these questions.
Somebody told me one time because I wanted to ask a question. I said, "Well, this
Sure.
question might look stupid." Actually, where I was working, the manager looked at me and said, "No, that is no," and he said, "No, that is no stupid
Mm-hmm.
question. So go
Exactly.
ahead and ask." And I want to
Exactly.
believe that he's
Exactly.
right.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think there may be some, but I think like you have to think about it, right? You have to think about what is your end goal. And if your goal is to get better, then you have to put yourself out there and you have to ask those questions that you may not, you may not be the best, the smartest questions to ask, but if you get the answers that you need, then who cares?
That's fine. It's the end at the end. It's because you want to get something clarified. If it was clear, you
Exactly.
wouldn't ask, no?
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
so right now, is live streaming your main business, or maybe
Mhm.
do you also do other thing along with it?
Well, my live streaming for the most part is my main business. When I'm working with clients, outside of working with the students, when I'm working with clients, I do either it's kind of several ways that I would work with them, right? So I typically either work with kids, I mean, with my clients who maybe they want strategy and including with the live streaming, but it's really all at the core of it, live streaming and based at that. Like I've had people who come to me and say, hey, you know what, do you do promo videos, or can you record video, do a video of such and such? And I'm like, the core of the business is live streaming, because that's what I know. Like I know live streaming strategy. I know what you can, how you can come across and over camera. That's what I know. So that's pretty much what I stick to. And and it also helps to kind of narrow, because oftentimes you have videographers who are great at doing video work, but don't know the live streaming side of the business. So I pretty much stay in my lane.
That's good. That's good. Now, would you want to tell me a little bit more on the business model, how it work with you, the live streaming?
Okay. So what we tend to do is we work with clients in the consulting capacity. We also work with clients if they say, hey, you know what, we just need you to come in and be the production crew for the day. And we also work with them if they need like a series to actually create a whole series, right? So I really enjoy the strategy piece to it, because it allows me to kind of really share my experience and of what I've done in the past, which was producing, promoting, and repurposing the content of live video. So, like for example, I had a university that I was working with like last year, and all they wanted to do because of the pandemic was to use live video as a way to promote the fund rate the program that they were doing for the year, right? It was like an anniversary that they were celebrating, and they wanted to basically be able to promote that. So they brought me in to basically show them and give them ideas on how best to use these series that they were doing to promote and engage the community. I had another client who just wanted me to come in and just bring my crew and shoot the concert that they were hosting, and then that was it. So we work with the basically I say with three ways, but we work really in two ways. It's a strategy plus the production, or it's just production, or it's actually just consulting and strategy. So because sometimes some clients actually have the team, so they just need me to come in and say, this is what you should be doing, and this is what my recommendations are.
Now, your client, are they like maybe institution,
Mhm.
politics, yeah, business
Institutional.
or individual?
Mhm.
Of course, you can also work for politician, or if when Joe
Yeah.
Biden was running, yeah, you can, why not?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I find that like with the live video and live streaming, you really can do it with anyone and any entity. We've been working with a lot of nonprofits, and a lot of entrepreneurs, and then some businesses here and there, and then of course the students in the schools, like so the schools. So like sometimes we'll have nonprofits who also are youth-facing nonprofits. So they'll bring us in and we'll bring our program in, and we'll work with them that way. But then there may be some cases where they have maybe an event, something that they're trying to launch, and they have us come in and work with them in that way. So it really just depends. But I think anyone can do live streaming. I think that it's a really great way if you're trying to find a way to reconnect with the community. It's a really great way of doing that.
All right, a couple of months ago, I went to Venice because there was a conference there. So I went
Mm-hmm.
with a friend where
Mm-hmm.
we streamed the event on
Uh-huh.
YouTube because of course we
Okay.
connected our OBS and some tools
Mm-hmm.
which we used to stream. In fact, also a couple of days ago, I was in a trade fair that was organized in Milan. So we also
Uh-huh.
did a similar thing. Basically, of course, we do some interview and all that. I don't know if
Gotcha.
that is similar to what you are doing, or because of course what we did, we have the camera tool that are facing
Mhm.
one for the guest, one for
Right.
also for the host. and
Right,
then
right.
everything connected. So I don't know if you can explain to her if it is like that or something. Yes.
Yeah, it is. Anything that's involving a camera, a mic, an encoder, and pushed out to either a social media platform or a private link, that's what we do, right? So it's funny because especially with the pandemic now, like you have webcasting, which is really webinars, which is really virtual conferencing, which is, and then it's live streaming, which is the same. It's kind of it's used interchangeably, but then if you're thinking about streaming, then you're thinking like Netflix and OTTs and all that other stuff. So it covers, there's a really wide range of it, and it really depends on who you are, what your goals are, and what you're doing. Like for example, when you're saying in your case, you guys went to a conference and you guys, decided that you wanted to interview people and you live streamed it using OBS. It's yeah, it's a big space, and there's so many different ways to kind of look at it, I guess.